Post-match pint. We are in Hong Kong and we've just watched Liverpool unfortunately lose 4-2 to AC Milan, but plenty of decent performances to get stuck into and some nice moments for the crowd here as well. I've got Josh Sexton, I've got Craig Hannan, I am John Gibbons, and I'll start with you, Craig. You know, you don't want to lose, but it is a pre-season game. He has used a lot of his squad, not all of them, we'll maybe talk about that, but he has used a lot of the players here. You know, the team that he's picked in the first half won't start for Liverpool. So you can understand maybe some of the goals that they give away and things like that, but also if you're looking for individual performances to get excited about, there was a few of those as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as fans, when you get beaten in a pre-season game, you tell yourself, well, you don't need to worry about this because it's a pre-season game, and when you win, you're going, hey, look at this, like how good they
look. We mean business.
Yeah. I think it was 2019 or 2020, 2019 before Liverpool win the league, and they get battered by Napoli, and you know that was an example of a time where it just shows it doesn't matter. It's about the fitness and it's about the minutes in the pitch and gelling players in. You know, you looked at the starting lineup at the beginning, and you were sort of trying to work out like what formation we were going to play, and obviously you see Verts on like a false nine sort of, and he is one of the exciting performances that I think you're talking about. Every time he got the ball, he just looks like a player that's going to make things happen, and obviously young Rio as well on the left. So really enjoyed the first half. I think the second half looked like a team that are short of a centre back and short of a striker.
Yeah, I mean the striker thing they've sorted. He was in the building, Ekatike, but he, wasn't deemed, ready yet to start. But the centre half thing does worry me a little bit, Josh, because listen, it's a pre-season game, so you can understand that it's going to be a bit makeshift, and someone's going to end up in an unlikely position at some point. But it's both halves. So both Virgil and Konate have to play centre half with someone who is in a centre half, and listen, I think Gravenberch does pretty well there, and actually has done pretty well there for Liverpool. But if right now you're telling me he's third choice centre back, well, that worries me because I quite like him at number 6, and he can't play the first game of the season anyway.
I'm going to worry you, John, because Arne Slot has basically just said that in his press conference there. He said that Gravenberch is an option at centre back. He mentioned Wataru Endo as an option at centre back, and he may just be doing that to be sort of coy on transfers. He was asked a couple of times about other sort of transfer dealings, including Nunes and Diaz both being left out of the squad tonight, and he was coy on those two as well. So I think it's probably just him sort of playing the transfer game a little bit. I would love to see a centre half come in. I think you see, Virgil goes down with a face injury after that first half, and you'd have expected that he'd gone off at half time anyway, and he looked absolutely fine in the post-match press conference again. But that it takes one injury like that to Virgil in a proper Premier League game, or to Konate in a proper Premier League game. And by the way, Konate's injury record's not great either, for you to then be really threadbare, and suddenly you are looking at midfielders and suddenly you're changing that. And we've been through that season, haven't we, where Liverpool did that, where they were changing the centre halves all the time. We have Fabinho and Henderson playing there as a pair, and then finally they went to the young lads, and that sort of turned things around. So you do want to see Liverpool go and strengthen there. I'm excited to see the Ekatike take to the pitch, as you mentioned, sort of fixing in the striking department, and then excited maybe to see what more Liverpool can do in the striking department over the next month or so.
It might be an emergency cut to break it out right now. Who knows? I stick with you because Josh, because I don't want to just bring the bad news to your side. Well, Craig mentioned Florian Wirtz there. What did you make in the first half? Was he everything you dreamed of and more?
He's absolutely sumptuous, isn't he? As a footballer, I feel like I have to whip out the thesaurus. That's an easy word to say. Like you sort of almost run out of superlatives, and like you don't. I think you do this thing in your own head where you're so excited to see a football that you probably like tell yourself a story of what it's going to be like, and I'm sure him and Slot will look back on that performance and look at things that they think can be improved, and there's more time to gel and things like that. But some of the things he does with a football, the way Mo Salah looks like he just loves to play with him. There was one chance in the first half where like Mo should have definitely shot, and it was almost like he just wanted to keep passing it between each other because he was enjoying it so much. So I think you're seeing a real quality player coming into Liverpool's setup there, looking like he's already going to really improve things for Liverpool, but also like literally what he can bring individually too, I think is just so exciting. He looks really strong on the ball, looks really powerful. We were sort of saying where we create the comparison really is Coutinho in terms of the way he just glides around with the ball. He welcomes contact and manages to spin away from players. He works so well in sort of half space and things like that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see him play more football for Liverpool, and on the balance of his first performance there, on the evidence of his first performance there, I think he's going to be a huge player.
Yeah, and there's going to be so many more players who are going to get to play with him, and that'll just raise his level. But today, seeing his link up with Szoboszlai and Salah as well. I mean, Salah must think he's really good because I've never seen Salah pass in that situation in my life. So Mo Salah must think he's fucking boss. But it just shows how he's developing these understandings already with the top players at the club.
Yeah, he'll not think he's as good as Mo Salah though. But that's what I like about Mo Salah. You're right. There's a beautiful through ball, and it's a moment where he glides past a player and threads it through. And that was one of the first sort of moments where the crowd, who were brilliant today and were so loud, they do this like, whoa, we all just sort of got dead excited about what we'd just seen from him. I think you're right, he does remind me of Phil Coutinho, but then a little bit more tenacious as well. He looks like a player that'll get stuck in and defensively as well, but I thought he was excellent, and I think there's so much more to come. Obviously, you spoke to Curtis afterwards and he was sort of glowing about him both in the background and obviously what we've seen on the pitch. We talked in the open training video the other day about how he seems to be one of those players that just always has space and always just has the ability to one touch and he's away, and suddenly Liverpool are on the attack and are finding ways to break down the defence, and it was great to see that translate on the pitch today as well.
Yeah, it was fantastic to see some of these like combinations building and just how these good players are getting an understanding. But I mean, it was arguably maybe a young lad who stole the show. Rio Ngamoa, first half, he's just electrifying, isn't he? There was one moment towards the end of the half where he just bends past someone like he's not even there, and you're just like, wow, the confidence of the boy, the natural talent that he's got. I don't know how much to expect from him next season, how much we should expect from him, but I certainly know he's a brilliant footballer.
Yeah, there's so much raw talent there, isn't there? And that's something that can be refined as well. And I'd argue for his age, he's already pretty refined. Like, the talent is so clearly there. The pace, the power in his running, his ability to beat his man in Tomori, the fullback for AC Milan there, who's an experienced footballer who's played at international level for England and things like that. And you've got this young lad sort of making a tit of him in the first half. Really, that's how good he was. And he's in the best possible situation, I think, to continue to improve. He's working with guys like Flo Wirtz, we've just mentioned there, Mo Salah. There's so much talent in this football club that he can look at and be like, I want to model my game on these people. These people can be some of my idols, and I can take things from their game. But it's ultimately like there's going to be things outside of his control as well. Like I said to Craig and John when we were up before, that like the trouble with these young players and why you don't want to get too carried away is growth spurts and things. You think about Cade Gordon from a couple of years ago, was so exciting, was so involved in Jurgen Klopp's squads, playing FA Cup semi-finals against Arsenal and things like that, and then suddenly he has this sort of freak injury from a growth spurt, and it's really stunted his career to the point, I mean, he's not even out on the pre-season tour with Liverpool at the moment. So you hope that Ngamoa has a sort of smoother path like that. He's a bit more lucky with his body and those injuries, because if he is, then Liverpool have got a serious talent on their hands there.
We've been in these pre-season tours before. I remember 2 years ago we were sort of fawning over Ben Doak, really excited about him, and then last year it was Neone, and obviously neither of those players end up playing very many minutes in any sort of competitions really last season and the season before with Ben Doak. So you don't want to get yourself too excited, but then Liverpool might find themselves in the position where actually they look at him and go, do you know what, he can be the sixth choice. Last season it was Chiesa, but you're looking at him today and he's going at Tomori and he has him on toast. Yeah. Like, he has him on toast, and so you can see him being a really sort of effective player for Liverpool in games where they're chasing a goal or they need to break a team down. But yeah, you have to say all of this with, he is, I think, 18 years old. Is that right?
17,
I think, yeah.
Like, when he walked through the mix zone past us earlier, and like, he looked so young. Yeah. Like, so young. It was like, you see him on the pitch and you always think of them as like, the footballers are so much older than what they are, and then he was a kid. Do you know what I mean? And we saw that with Neone last season as well. And obviously he's gone through this like growth spurt as well. So really, really exciting footballer. Looks like he has the world at his feet in terms of what he can do in the future. And Robertson said that again in I think you're going to see it in this video. But also, we've been here before. You don't want to put too much pressure on them.
Should we put those videos in? We've talked about them. Let's put those 2 clips of me speaking to some of my close personal friends, and then we'll be back speaking to my 2 best friends in the whole world.
You saved it.
Chops our show.
Andy, nice to see you. You're part of that first half team. How did you find it out there?
Yeah, I thought first half we were good. There was a good even game. Obviously lost a goal in the counter attack, which is never great, but I thought we had a lot of the ball. I thought we created some good chances. some good link up in the midfield and things like that. So I thought we were pleased, and didn't really see the second half. We were obviously at that point you go in and recover.
When you went off that,
you can say that. But no, obviously the score, you obviously want to win these games, but we'll get a lot out of it. It's been a really tough week in terms of training, things like that, so probably we're tired bodies, but I think we'll get enough out of it for for us to move forward.
Where for that young lad in front of you today? He's not bad, is he, Leo?
No, look, he's a good kid as well, and he's got a fantastic head on his shoulders, and especially when he's got people like Mo and things like that, they can help him so much, and we always try and help him because he's a good kid. Him and Trey, they're so young, but they're such good kids, and they've got a hell of a future for them. You can just see them coming on every time, and the more they train the more they play they just get better and better. So obviously that's the last 2 games now I've played with Rio in front of me, and he just keeps on coming on, and he's got a hell of a future ahead of him, but the here and now looks pretty good as well.
I don't know if you know, but you were seeing on screen about half an hour in, giving the referee a bit of feedback. It just shows how competitive you still are, even in these friendly games. Yeah, you want to win?
Yeah. I got reminded of it half time by a few of the lads. Look, sometimes you forget the camera's on. Maybe I'll apologise for that, but no, look, I thought it was a penalty, and I still think it's a penalty. I think everyone does. But look, the ref, it's one of the ones. But when I arrive in the box, it's quite rare that happens now. And I thought it was clean and goal, and the defender stopped me, so I was quite clear it was penalty. I was just ready to argue with Mo so I could take it instead of him. But no, look, I thought it was a penalty, but you shouldn't really swear at the ref. So maybe I need to apologise for that one.
Listen, well, personally, we do want to see that in the game, so that's completely fine. A few rumours knocking around on social media. You're vice captain. Have you seen that?
I've seen rumours, and I've had texts, and I've had people congratulating me, but I've not heard anything. Look, we're obviously part of the leadership group, Mo, Hallie, and obviously Virgil being captain, and look, the manager's not spoke to any of us yet, and obviously we've lost Trent as vice captain, so that role's available. But look, we do what we do. The 4 of us are a good tight-knit group. I spoke about it the other day in terms of helping the new lads come in, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to help them come in. You've got to help the young lads like Trey and Rio and things like that to develop. And we've been in this club a long time now. We know what it takes, and we know how hard it is as well to keep the levels as high as fans and things like that expect. But if we can give them a little bit of knowledge, then it can help them on the way. And I think we're all taking that on board.
We're going to get an odd mate, so I'll see you in Japan.
Top man, see you later.
I'm Curtis Jones. Curtis, how did you feel out there today?
I felt good actually. Obviously it was mixed teams as well. A few of the young lads as well was in there, which obviously helps for their experience of that as well. It was good to be out there with a mixed group. As I said, I felt good. Unfortunately, obviously we lost the game, but it's fine. We've got to start at a place, and that's where it is at the minute.
How confident are you about your own game going forward? It's nice to have the summer break, obviously, and then going into a pre-season. How confident are you that you can show everything that we know you've got next year?
Very.
Always.
Yeah.
You've got a nice little link up with Florian Wirtz on the pitch. You was kept apart today. Maybe they're ready to unleash that later. But we've seen the clips from training. I've seen you having a laugh with them in the team hotel as well. Seems to be a little bond there on and off the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's a new lad. There's a label on him that would pay this price for him. But it's about just bringing him in and just let him just feel calm and at home and just go and play his game, and not think much about I'll be bought for this price. And of course he would know that he needs to help the team with goals and assists. But first of all, just come in a team, be yourself, and we've seen that all week with him. I mean, as everybody already sees, he can score goals, he can assist. He's an exciting player as well. But on top of all that as well, it's unbelievable. He's always got a smile on his face. He just enjoys the game.
And he's coming into the champions as well, and that's a nice thing, really, in my opinion, because you talk about the pressure, but there's so many great players at Liverpool. We are the champions of England. I'll just keep saying it because I'm enjoying saying it. And
keep saying it. Keep saying it.
And there's so much quality within the squad. And it's a nice football club to join, in my opinion.
100%, yeah, and as you can already see, you know, he's found his feet. You know, he's comfortable here. And the same with all the other lads who have signed. You know, they've come in and adjust themselves. You know, I bang on about this thing all the time that it's an unbelievable team, but it's more like a family as well. You know, if you're a young lad, if you're a lad who's getting signed, you come in and with us, we've got a bunch of lads that just all about having a laugh as well at the same time, so you just feel at home. And then obviously it helps the lads as well. So the lads who are coming in the team, you know, they're going to be a huge help, and hopefully we can go and win even more.
Well, listen, if you win it next year, if you can get the Anfield Wrap on that Dubai trip, we'd appreciate it because it looked good fun.
Just phone me now.
Thanks to me, Bezzy Ash there for bringing us back in. All the lads. Loads of Gibbons to go around. Arguably too much sometimes on occasion. What the fuck am I talking about?
Footy, I think.
Footy. Who else impressed you, Josh? Anyone else jump out? Nice to see. I mean, Sebastian's goals about him, isn't it? He doesn't even like whack it that much. He just passes it into the top corner.
Yeah, it's exactly where he wanted to put it, and that's where you sort of realise the level of technique. And there's been a bit of a thing. I saw a few people tweeting while the game was going on that, you know, there's been a couple of people doing predicted 11s for the season, not putting Szoboszlai in them, and I agree with the sentiment that at least I saw in my echo chamber on Twitter, that I think that couldn't be further wide of the mark. He's one of Liverpool's most versatile players, and I think he could play anywhere across those sort of front six positions, from the number 6 to all the forward 3 positions. I think he's got that in his locker. You saw it at times last season. He's got the finishing ability, he's got dribbling ability, he's got passing ability, his work ethic, and the sort of tenacity, I think, to steal the word that Craig used for Wirtz before, is just absolutely, you know, a huge asset to Liverpool. And I think he probably flies under the radar a little bit last season because he does almost just become workman-like rather than showing the sheer technique he's got. But then you see it in flashes with goals like that tonight. Like it's just exactly where he wants to put it, and he hits it right there, and he puts it past the keeper, who's been getting a lot of plaudits in recent years in Maignan as well. So I'm really excited to see Szoboszlai this season. I thought Tyler Morton impressed.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe more of a shop window one than a sort of, you know, big Liverpool future one, but really nice on the ball, really silky, kept things ticking over well.
It was like a mature performance.
Yeah, I think so.
I thought he looked like, you know, in the past when you've seen him, you're like, oh, he's a decent young player, but the way he was playing, you can tell like he's had good loan football, he's got experience, and just the way he was putting himself about the pitch, his positioning, his confidence, his knowledge of where he needed to be, it just felt very assured, and it reminded you of all those, the standard of club that were after him last summer. Yeah,
100%. And like you've seen, you know, him playing in the Championship and playing really well for you know, good clubs in the Championship too. So I think that, like, surely the next thing for him is a Premier League move. It feels like, I don't know, like I can't think off the top of my head how many Premier League clubs are making those sort of like risky young signings for fairly big money these days. It felt like Bournemouth used to take all of our ones offers, wasn't it? Didn't they? Which is great. Sheffield United taking Ryan Brewster and things like that. But I do hope that move is there for him, because I think he deserves to go and play, you know, proper football now. You see him again on the pitch now. There's nothing there that scares him. I think he's absolutely ready for that moment to grasp.
Yeah, he looks a good footballer, whether that's with Liverpool or somewhere else. We'll sort of have to wait and see, really. But yeah, he certainly looks like, I was reminded, you know, it was Bayer Leverkusen in for him last summer. Yeah, it doesn't quite happen, but you can get hints of why, you know, albeit in the pre-season friendly, on the evidence of today. Cody Gakpo, another one who's in amongst the goals. He seems to score whenever he's on the pitch. At the moment, Cody, it's a nice header that for a while makes us all think, oh, we're going to get a penalty shootout.
I think he impressed, and I'm really excited to see what this season brings for Cody, because obviously there's a lot of speculation around Diaz, and Slot said in the presser that you know, he's been left out because of that speculation. So that feels like one that maybe he's close, and then it feels like Cody's going to be the sort of star man in that position. I've said it on the shows before. I felt what really worked well for Liverpool last season, and it wasn't a coincidence that both Gakpo and Diaz had the best seasons for Liverpool last season, was because they were both competing for the one space. It never felt as if either had it. So it'd be interesting to see who he has on that left-hand side, and whether they see it as Rio being the sort of the sixth and the one behind Gakpo. But yeah, he scores goals, Cody Gakpo, and he scores good goals. I think you really benefit from all these new signings, like Robertson and stuff coming in, where these defences are having to sort of deal with and come up with plans to deal with these footballers, and there's Gakpo who can turn inside and curl on top in, or he can get in at the back post and score a header. I just said top in. I've never said that in my life.
I'm alright with it.
Soz about that.
Says it all the time off camera.
I never have.
Talking about his own game.
Top in.
I mentioned before, Josh, there's obviously a few players who don't feature. The headline ones when the squads came out was Nunes and Diaz. Yep. It wasn't just them. There was Noendo and a few others. I think Joe Gomez, who's obviously gone back. But you went to the press conference, I didn't. So what did he say about Nunes and Diaz, and what did you read between the lines with his words?
Diaz, I mentioned he was a little bit coy in terms of future. He mentioned that he had left him out because of the speculation. I can't quite remember what he said on Nunes, whether it was again a speculation.
It was
thing
an
or whether
injury.
It was an injury.
Yeah,
I thought it was
a minor injury. They didn't want to risk him.
I thought there was something different between the Nunes answer and the Diaz answer. I couldn't quite remember what it was. But then the Gomez thing he says is minor, which I think is probably the biggest plus of all those things. To be honest, I think.
To hear that today,
I know, and especially it being an Achilles, it immediately sounds like an extreme injury, doesn't it? But maybe they've just felt like the travel's not going to be necessarily good for him travelling over to Japan now. Best just get him home, get him rehabbing back in Kirby there, and get him back on the pitch as soon as possible, because I mean, like we mentioned it again before, we're going to need him in terms of those centre half options. With Diaz and Nunes, we're all kind of expecting Liverpool to go and make that Isak move now, especially if those two move on. So you don't feel sort of as bad about it. I don't want to see Diaz leave like that. So I will feel in some ways bad about it, but I'm not going to be massively shocked if that is the case now. It feels like Bayern are ready in this next bid for him, if you believe what we're sort of seeing on Twitter and things like that. And then Nunes just feels like the writing's been on the wall for a little while now. It feels like Slot hasn't necessarily fancied him, that Nunes hasn't really shown the sort of, I think, mental fortitude really to be the leading man and number 9 at a club like Liverpool. So I think the best thing for him now is to go and get that move. If it is to Saudi, then I can imagine him tearing up there and scoring a lot of goals and probably enjoying a relatively nice life with the sort of pay packet and stuff that he'll get over there. So if that is the last time that we've seen them on a pitch for Liverpool, then we can say they went out as champions, and you can't say any fairer than that, can you?
Yeah, absolutely. Watch the space on those. Obviously loads more across that on the Anfield Wrap as things develop. The team have left. They go to Japan tomorrow. We go to Japan tomorrow as well, so we're looking forward to touching down. It's all of our first times in Tokyo, so we're really looking forward to seeing it. I gather, and the Liverpool fans are lively over there and very excited to welcome the Reds, as they have been in Hong Kong. Craig, it's been really nice to see, be in town today and go out for a meal. We were in a restaurant and these two boys came in the Liverpool shirts, just dead excited to come to the game, and we had a bit of a laugh with them. They were, getting a bit of scanning before sort of coming up, and wherever we've looked, it felt in Hong Kong this week there's been red shirts and people just delighted that Liverpool have been here, and obviously it's a big crowd tonight as well, and I would say 99% Liverpool.
Yeah, it was very, very loud, so don't know if you can see it in the shot. The roof's actually open now, but it was closed during the game, and it's very air conditioned in this stadium, but the fans were so loud that obviously echoes and reverberates off the roof, but I was like dead impressed by them, and there's a lovely tribute from them as well on 20 minutes and before the game for Diogo. Yeah. They want to sort of pay their respects and pay sort of tribute to him. And yeah, there's just been a really nice buzz everywhere you look, sort of around the stadium, seeing everyone. Because for many of these people, this might be the only time they see Liverpool, or might be the first time that they've seen Liverpool. And how special is that particularly on a pre-season tour like that, where usually there's a lot of young players, usually you're missing quite a few from international tournaments or players getting back late. But not this time, everyone's here, or the majority, as you said. So it'll have been special for them, and it was nice to sort of experience it as well and see a little bit of their fan culture over here. Brilliant, yeah. Yeah, it's been a good week, but on to Japan. Listen, hope you've enjoyed that, hope you've enjoyed the interviews, hope you've enjoyed all the coverage of us out in Hong Kong so far. Like I said, we are off to Japan tomorrow. We will keep sharing this journey, and yeah, Hong Kong, nice one for looking after us up the Reds.